Hello folks, Vinyl Chef Steve back here today. Today we are going to make Quincy Jones's Diary broccoli cheese soup. Yeah, Quincy Jones, awesome, amazing producer, arranger, conductor at times. Worked with artists such as Peggy Lee, Frank Sinatra, Count Basie. He also was very well known for soundtracks, like In the Heat of the Night. Of course, the critically acclaimed Roots soundtrack, he produced that. But most notably, he worked with a lot of funk and soul artists throughout the 70s. Artists like Michael Jackson, Chaka Khan, Roland Kirk. But he's probably best known for his production on the album Thriller, Michael Jackson's Thriller, and my favorite of all, Off the Wall, from Michael Jackson, of course. So Quincy Jones, awesome artist. If he's not good enough to name a recipe after, then I don't know what to tell you. But today we're making Quincy Jones's Diary broccoli cheese soup. We have a wine that is ironically named, well, Quincy, if you can see that. Yeah, that's actually the region or the village that is just east of the Loire Valley in France. They produce really nice Sauvignon Blanc. It's a nice dry white wine that works perfectly for this dish. So we'll be using that in our broccoli cheese soup as well in my stomach today. So let's get started with the ingredients. I've got about 4 cups of roasted broccoli here that I roasted with about 2 medium-sized carrots that I chopped up really fine. And then I have 2 cloves of roasted garlic as well. So the way I roasted the vegetables was I put them on a sheet pan, covered them with olive oil, and then I put them in a 425 degree for about 20 minutes. So when they were done, I just took them out, set them aside, separated them all. That just saves time. I like to roast my vegetables because it develops unique flavors, concentrated flavors. So our other ingredients, we've got a 1.5 cups of the Quincy wine combined with a 1/2 cup of chicken broth. Then I've got about 10 ounces of Comté cheese, which is the cheese that I told you about in a previous episode that's also from France. Then we've got some seasonings over here, about 1.5 teaspoons of paprika. And we've got about 1 teaspoon of cayenne pepper for a little bit of heat. And a tablespoon of onion powder. And about 4 tablespoons of salted butter. That way I don't have to add any salt to it. You can add salt to it if you'd like, it just depends on your taste. But once it's all complete, you can taste it and then you can add salt and pepper to taste to your liking. I've got 2 cups of milk here. You could use 1/2 and 1/2, but this is already pretty rich, so I think the milk is sufficient considering the amount of cheese that we're putting in there as well. And then this is also, these 2 things are optional. This is 2 teaspoons of Kirsch, which is this right here. It's a cherry brandy. This is what they use in fondue. So I figured, hey, might as well give it a try. Let's put it in this French style, broccoli cheese soup and see how it tastes. I might also add at the end, towards the end, a teaspoon or tablespoon of this white truffle butter. That's also optional. All right, so let's start with the roux. This does require a roux. We're gonna use a nice heavy cast iron enamel pan. And we're just gonna break down this butter until it's all melted. And once we get that butter melted, we'll go ahead and add our flour to it. So for those of you that don't know what a roux is, I'm sure you do. This is not the first cooking show ever to be aired on the internet or anything, but basically a roux is a thickening agent. It's a combination of fat and flour. And you can use any kind of fat. You can use pork fat, you can use butter. The concept is to cook the flour down. You can make a quick roux, like a light roux for cheese sauces, or you can make a dark roux. You can cook it until it turns brown, like for beef stews and so on and so forth. But today, because of what we're doing, we just want to cook the flour for maybe 4 or 5 minutes, just to cook the taste out of the flour. This flour is a thickening agent, so once we start adding liquid, it'll thicken up that liquid, and it'll continue to thicken the soup as we add the remainder of the ingredients. So we're going to go ahead. This is our, forgot what this is, a 1/4 cup of flour that we're just going to, all-purpose flour. We're going to go ahead and add that in here. And then just kind of get the butter all mixed in with it real quick. Make sure it all gets saturated with the butter. And you'll see how it immediately breaks down. Hopefully you can see this okay, and it's kind of boiling, so you want to keep it on kind of like a medium-low heat. And we'll just go ahead and stir this around here for a few minutes. And then once we get it to that consistency and the flour cooks a little bit, keep stirring it. You can stop stirring it for a minute if you like, and it's just going to be breaking down a little bit. It won't burn unless you walk away from it for 5 or 10 minutes, and it's going to be a disaster. So yeah, don't forget to like the videos if you do like them. If you try the recipe and it tastes good, you can also comment on there too as well, and feel free to subscribe. Anyways, I think that's about good. I'm going to go ahead and turn the fire down a little bit, and I'm going to start adding the liquid, and you'll see what happens. You have to really whisk good at this time and add the liquid kind of slowly, because it starts to ball up and lump up, and you just got to keep on whisking. And that's what kind of keeps it from breaking up, or keeps it from clumping up, I'm sorry. You just whisk away, keep adding your liquid, maybe add about half of it, go all the way around the pan. It's almost looking like a gravy already. I'm gonna add, I can add the rest of it now, I guess. Just keep on whisking away. Want to make sure you get all those lumps out of there. No one likes lumpy gravy or lumpy broccoli cheese soup. There you go, it's starting to look nice and smooth. I don't know if you can see that, but it's nice. The consistency is really, really good. So I think now we're ready to add our milk. So we got the milk here. We're going to go ahead and start adding that a little at a time and whisk it in nicely. Alright, once you get past that first couple, cup and a half or so liquid into the roux, it gets a lot easier to blend the rest of your liquids without worrying about the clumping. So go ahead and just get that all in there. Alright, so we got all of our milk in there. See that nice, rich, creaminess right there? Alright, so that's all mixed together real nice. What we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and let this simmer, put it back up to like a medium, maybe a medium low. Actually, let's keep it on low. And you're just going to let it simmer without bothering it too often for about maybe 10 minutes. And let's see it thicken up a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and add the rest of the ingredients to add the kirsch that I'm doing here. Alright, as if there wasn't already enough alcohol in this broccoli cheese soup, huh? Alright, so we're listening to Quincy Jones's album here, the Gula Matari. Yeah, very, very jazzy, kind of tribal at times, but nonetheless, it's classic Quincy and just ability to be diverse and soulful and very creative. An amazing artist. All right, so we can go ahead and add our spices now. We're gonna go ahead and put in our onion powder in there. And we'll add our cayenne for a little bit of heat, because Quincy in the Heat of the Night album, right? A little paprika here. And then, of course, our roasted garlic. Yeah, nice. It's all good stuff. Go ahead and whisk that all in nicely. So we're almost there. We've got a couple of things to add, and then we are done, and the soup just has to simmer for a little while. So we'll just stand here and stare at it, I guess. Oh, I forgot. I could be drinking. Whoops. So a little bit about the Quincy wine. It's a Sauvignon Blanc. It's really nice. It's a dry wine. It's got nice acidity. It's really bright minerality and lovely fruit, not too concentrated. It's just classic French terroir. Let's put in the vegetables first. You want to put the cheese last, because you don't want to run the risk of having it separate. This is where you want to put it on a low flame. So we got our broccoli in there. Now we don't need the whisk. Probably be better off with a wooden spoon now. I'm going to throw in our vegetables. And now we're going to add our cheese, which looks like quite a bit, but get this all incorporated. And once you get to this point, if it's not the consistency that you like, you can always add more milk. You know, you can add, well, I don't know if you want to add more wine, but I'm going to add more wine to my stomach right now. So you can add, you know, more milk to thin it out. Just depends on how you like it, your preference, and the flavor. So this is actually looking pretty good. Just incorporate it all in, work it in nicely. You definitely don't want to cook with inexpensive wine, unless of course that is your flavor preference. But you want to cook with the wine that you're willing to drink. That's pretty much it. So some people are willing to drink anything. I guess they can cook with anything too, right? Right, so it's actually looking really good. And I think at this point, you can let it simmer for maybe another 15-20 minutes, and you will be done. Finished product. Try to get that over there. You can see that. Looks nice and thick. Nice consistency. So yeah. So that looks like it's going to be it for us today. And I hope you enjoyed this episode of The Vinyl Chef and Quincy Jones's Diary broccoli cheese soup. Cheers. Take care.